All right, so this video is going to break down how you can use Mailchimp with Beatstars. Now, there's going to be timestamps if you want to go ahead and just skip forward to anything particular. Overall, we're going to cover the setup, how things work with tagging, how the whole integration works, and how just a lot of mistakes I see producers try to make that you can't make because the integrations don't work like a regular e-commerce store. I'm going to go over how to set up a campaign, how to create an automation, and everything like that. Now, I want to say that I know a lot of producers like using Mailchimp because of its free option, but you have to understand the free option is very limited. Once you get into trying to build out different automations and using email to its full capabilities, you run into a lot of issues because you're going to be on the free account. So obviously, if you're just getting started into everything, Mailchimp is a free way to get your toes kind of in the water. But once you get going, you're probably going to run into restrictions and limitations, so just want to let you know that. But with that all out of the way, you're not going to find any of this information out there on the internet. No other video really covers it this in depth, so go ahead and leave a like and comment if this helped you. Peace out.
All right, guys, so we are at the Mailchimp sign-up page. This is very simple. You do your email, username, and password, so I'll be back once we have this filled out. Okay, so it's gonna send you a confirmation email. You click on the link in your email, and then you go to this screen where you have to fill out your information. Now, it's gonna ask you for your business address, and in order for this to actually work and actually send emails, you have to follow anti-spam laws, so your address has to appear in the footer of every email you send with Mailchimp. Once you have that, it's gonna ask you some questions. These are just to do like their internal surveys, so you can just go ahead and skip these. It doesn't matter. Really just doesn't matter at all. So just do that. Cool. Okay, so now it's going to ask you for a plan. So a reason why a lot of producers really enjoy Mailchimp is because they do offer a free plan. But of course, there are some limitations to everything in terms of like the journeys, the automated customer journeys. There's not really a lot you can do with the free plan. I really do recommend going with the standard plan if you're gonna dive into this, just because it has a lot more that you can do in terms of journeys and the customer journeys as well, A/B testing, you know, so I'd recommend that one, but we're just gonna do the free one for now. And sweet, so now we are in our accounts. And let's just go through this. So over on the left-hand side, we have all our tabs. We have campaigns. These are going to be like our one-off emails. These are kind of like the weekly emails that we talk about if you ever watched one of our videos before. These are the automations that we can do. Now, Beatstars and Mailchimp, when you see in the connection video, when we go over this later on in the video, you're going to see that like there's no direct connection between Beatstars and Mailchimp. So essentially you can't track revenue. You can't do like abandoned cart stuff in here. Like you're gonna see pre-built journeys for like abandoned carts and whatnot, but it's not gonna work because Beatstars isn't connected to Mailchimp like that. There's 2 tags or 3 tags that Beatstars actually passes that we're gonna have to go over later on in this video. So we'll get more there. We have our audience. This is gonna be like your subscribers. You can see there's sign up forms over here. There's tags, segments. You can do surveys. There's analytics in terms of like your own email marketing stuff. So the thing about this is just sample data, right? But when you actually like get this up and running, I think this only works for more expensive payment plans for the accounts. But like I said, this is never going to work for Beatstars. All you're ever going to see is like the click rate and the open rate of your emails really, because Beatstars doesn't connect to like track the revenue. So you're never going to see this stuff. You're only going to see like your open rate and your click-through rate. And then over here, there's like a website in terms of if you want to do like a landing page or whatnot, which could be useful depending on what you're doing. Then they have content. So essentially if you had like files in here or whatnot, then there's some extra integrations, which you're probably not going to be using at all for this. So that's how you set your account up. Now let's hop over to Beatstars and connect this. So once you're in your Beatstars dashboard here, you want to go the whole way down to Pro Page and then integrations. And then you'll see here there's Mailchimp, Aweber, Fanbucks, blah, blah. Just click connect with Mailchimp. Then it's going to ask you to log into the account that you made. So just click log in, enter your info. And then just click allow. It's just going to connect these apps. And then it's going to essentially say that select a list, and whatever your name is, they made a list for you. So just choose that and click on save. So now these two are set up. So what we're gonna do is, it's important to know that whenever somebody free downloads, buys a beat, or signs up on your pro page pop-up or email newsletter, there's tags that get fired with that. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna do this live just to show you guys how this actually works, just so you can understand. So under the audience tab and dashboard, we'll go to all contacts. You should probably see your email address here, but I just deleted it for now. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop over to Beatstars, and we're actually gonna free download one of my beats, and we'll show you what that looks like when a contact gets pulled over. So we're gonna go to this beat, click on download for free, and then it's gonna ask for your email address and full name from the artist. You just click send. This is what they see. Cool. And then if we refresh our page here, we will see that we have a new contact who has the tag of free download. Cool, right? So essentially all this does is anytime somebody free downloads a beat, it pulls in the tag free download. That's good to know. We'll use that later. Now, if we hop back over to our pro page settings, essentially what we want to do is we want to make a way for us to collect emails on the pro page. So if we click on this edit button here and go to integrations, you will see first we'll see the exit pop up, but there's also a contact list provider and there's Mailchimp. So you just turn it on, and then essentially there's two ways you can do this. So for the headline text, this is usually what you would want to say. You want to make this something to incentivize somebody. So maybe like get 5 free beats. And what we'll do is we'll keep this as just the home page. So if we click on publish and then we'll go to our URL here, we can see that if we scroll down, we will see a section that says subscribe to mailing list. Okay, so I think what we actually have to do is you have to go into the pro page customize settings and go to the home page settings and then change the subscribe to mailing list to, okay, that's a little annoying, but cool. So then what we'll do is we'll reload this. And so that's what that looks like, is that's a section right there where it asks for the name and email. And then if we do a pop-up, you will see we'll publish this, and then we will go ahead and just reload this. We will see a pop-up immediately loads right away to get 5 free beats just like that. So now if we put our name in, we'll put Ryan. Okay, add our email to, check the box and click on subscribe now. We will see that it's gonna go ahead, and if we go back to our contacts, it's going to add our new email address with the tag subscription form. So essentially, if somebody fills out the pop-up or that section, you can only have one or the other, either the section or the pop-up, it'll add the tag subscription form to them. So essentially, we'll talk more about that later, of like triggering a sequence for that, because like if we say like, hey, get 5 free beats, like we need that to deliver 5 free beats. So yeah. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna buy a beat real quick, and we'll show you what that adds to a customer when they buy a beat. So then after buying a beat, we will see that the customer has the tag of sales. So essentially there are 3 tags that go about here with the Beatstars Mailchimp integration. So essentially if somebody free downloads a beat, they get the tag free download. If somebody signs up on your pro page pop-up or the subscription form, they get the tag of subscription form. And then if somebody buys a beat, they get the tag of sales. Now, there is one issue I do want to talk about that I don't know is going to be fixed or not, but essentially, if somebody who free downloaded a beat goes ahead and buys a beat, before this video, before I do this, this used to not update them. So essentially, if somebody free downloads and then buys, it's not going to add the tag sales to them. So we're going to check it out right now. I'm going to use to buy with the email Ryan@Heat, and we're going to see if it updates me as a sale. So as you guys can see, I just went ahead and bought the beat using the same email that was already in my Mailchimp as a free download. So as we can see, this customer does not get added the tag of sales if they already exist. So that is what I would say is kind of a big issue. And we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, that's a big issue that needs to be fixed because 1, they're never going to get a thank you email about their purchase. And 2, if you go to segment your campaigns later on, so essentially you want to send something to your free downloaders and versus send something to only your customers, you know, you may say something like, hey, you know, I'm sending this coupon code to get your first beat. If somebody already bought from you and it doesn't update because of this glitch, that might piss somebody off because they're going to be like, bro, I've bought beats from you 10 times before. Like, why are you saying I never bought a beat from you, bro? You know, it's shit like that. That is really small things, but like that could ruin a customer relationship. with a customer. So that's something they really need to get fixed, but that is a glitch. That's just, there's no workaround that. All right, so now that we figured out how the whole tagging system works, we're gonna hop into our automations. And remember, this is on a free account, so there are gonna be limitations to this. So if we go to build from scratch, let's start off with the pro page subscription pop-up form. We'll start off there. All right, so if we hop back to our pro page here, you guys remember we have a pop-up that says get 5 free beats. So obviously we want to connect this to Mailchimp so that way Mailchimp delivers the 5 free beats or whatever you're offering here. So let's hop back into it. So it's gonna ask you first for a name of your contact's journey. So just name it whatever. So we'll just name it 5 free beats sign up. That way it's organized, and click on start building. So now when you get here, it's gonna ask you for a starting point. So we want the tag to actually be tag added. And what we want to do is, since we already have these in here, it's going to be subscription form. If you don't have the tags already in here because you're just setting this up, you just type in subscription form. And then what's going to say is when you have it typed out, it's going to say create a new tag. Since we already have it, we don't see it. But essentially, you're going to click that and just double check that you have this spelled out correctly, or else it's not going to work. And then you choose the tag, and then we do on save starting point. Now it's gonna say that you're gonna need to upgrade to activate a customer journey. The essential plan includes 4 journey points, and a standard plan includes 100. So let's see if we can actually build this out at all. I don't know if we can. It looks like we can. So we have some actions over here is what we're gonna wanna do. So what we're gonna do is there's a whole bunch of different things you can do here. For this though, we just need to send an email. So once we click that, there's a few things we're gonna see. So it's gonna essentially be the name of the email that we see in kind of the builder here. The to and from, the subject line, the schedule, which would just be as soon as possible. There's tracking for Google Analytics, but since Beatstars and Google Analytics don't connect, it doesn't, don't worry about that. So let's just start off in the top here with the email name. So this is just for you to internally see, nothing that your customers or email marketing subscribers are gonna see. So we're gonna click on rename here and just name this email delivering 5 free beats or whatever it is, just so we know. Now let's hop over to the to and from section. So essentially the to field, we're just gonna put their email address. From name, this is gonna be your producer name. So I made my name testing. So what we're gonna do is you just name this producer name here, whatever, and then your from email address. So now if you don't have a email tied to your domain, or you don't have a domain, please buy a domain and get an email address tied to your domain. If you use like a regular Gmail account, like ryan@gmail.com, essentially what's gonna happen is this is gonna be seen not as a professional email through email marketing provider platforms, and essentially the odds of your emails actually going to spam are gonna be a lot higher. If you use a domain address like ryan@heat.co, what's gonna happen is this is way less likely to go to spam. Getting out of promotions is a whole different story. We have more stuff about that in the course, but essentially just doing a domain email is gonna help your chances of not going into spam. So make sure you have that set up. So we're just gonna use my other email here that I have for this. Click on save. Now the subject line, this is gonna be the subject that the email subscribers are gonna see. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna name this like get your 5 free beats inside. And then the preview text this is kind of the second line of text. So let me open up an email right now. So I pulled some emails that we sent from J Cactus just to show you this. So essentially this bold part is the subject line here, and these not bolded, but right here, this is the subject preview line. So essentially it's now or never, Ryan, don't miss out on this. So essentially the subject preview, this is just to add kind of some extra context. So like get your 5 free beats inside. And then let's just say like excited to get working with you. And you really want to keep this short, because if you make this too long, it's just going to be hard to see. So you want to keep this stuff usually short. And then cool. So now we have that. The schedule, we're going to leave that alone. The tracking, we're going to leave that alone. And what we're going to do is there's a classic builder and a new builder. We'll get more into those emails later on. But that's essentially what you would do. So actually, let's do it right now. So let's hop in the classic builder. And so what I would recommend doing is you'll see there's a whole bunch of things here. There's different themes you can do. I would recommend just going with the product. Oh, didn't want to do that. I'd recommend going with like the 1-column basic here and just click that. And now we have this, and we'll just click on skip these messages over here. So what I'd recommend doing is you're gonna be seen with this. I'd recommend getting rid of your social tabs here. Just no need for that. You wanna send people back to your website. So don't worry about that. For this view your email in your browser section, I'd also just go ahead and delete that. I just think that's a waste of space. Then we have your logo, which you can put on top of here. So essentially, if you just click replace, it's gonna ask you to essentially upload files, and you can upload a logo to go there. Or you can also just delete it as well because it just takes up space. And so now if we get into the header section here, essentially, this is where you just design your email text. So what we can do is we would say, hey, let's actually go ahead and make this like back to our regular default text. So let's just get rid of that. So, hey, and then what I like about this is if we go to, where are they at here? Merge tags, we'll go to first name. So essentially if we do hey and this merge tag of first name, what this does is this is gonna pull in the first name with a contact. So hey, first name. I'm excited to get working with you. Here is a link right here to download your free beats. So essentially, like, here's a link right here. Actually, put the link is right here. What we can do is we can like bold this, and then we click this paperclip icon here over our highlight text. And what we can do is we can add a web address. So essentially you could add like a Dropbox link here, a Google Drive link here, and click insert. And then essentially if people click on this when it goes to their browser, it would then take them to the download link. And then you can do like producer name. And yeah, so essentially when it comes to writing emails, too, a pro tip here is just to keep your copy very choppy like this in very short sentences. You don't want to essentially, let me just go ahead and actually just get some default text here to show you guys. Like, really what you don't want your text to look like is, this is just random text, of course, so don't worry about this. But you don't want an email that looks like this. That's just too much text. What you'd want to do is you'd really want to break this up pretty much line by line. And so it looks way more something like this, because, you know, people don't want to read, like, people don't want walls of text. They want shorter copy that's easier to see. And honestly, a really good example is just go and like sign up for some email marketing stuff and businesses and companies and see what they do. And you'll see that like a lot of the copy is very much the copy, essentially the words in the email. It's going to look like this. It's going to look very kind of choppy, short, just because it's easier to read and it's not a wall of text. So then once you have that, essentially what you can do is once you have a plain text email like this that you like, you can just save this as a template yourself. So like plain text email. So that way, every time you don't have to go and like delete stuff. Like this is essentially the bare bones from your stuff, and you can always start from here and build more. I really don't recommend doing emails that have, let me just find an example here actually. So like Subway is an example right here. I really don't recommend doing emails that look a lot like this, that have a lot of images to them and whatnot, just because with your emails, it's gonna be way better if you send these plain text emails, because they're a lot more conversational. It looks like a human being actually sent this, and people are gonna be more willing to respond. And also, if you do emails that look like this, and you really don't have like a good email marketing reputation, sender's reputation, which is something a little bit more complex, by adding all these images and this code and whatnot, it's probably gonna put your email into spam, just because the email is a lot more heavier in terms of file size. So plain text is definitely the way to go. It's way more conversational. You're probably not going to end up in spam if you do plain text. And so that's a really good way to just kind of, this is the kind of emails you want to do. You don't want to do like this stuff from the Subway stuff. So once we have that, we'll click on save and close, and then we'll do save and return to journey. So what we're gonna do is, if we go ahead and let's go ahead, and I think we have to go ahead and do a free trial to actually do this. So even on the free version, you actually can't really do anything, but let's go ahead and send a test email to my email, and I'll show you guys what this looks like. And then if we go ahead, here is the test email of what this looks like. It says this is a test message right here. Obviously, your email subscribers, when they sign up, they don't see this. It says, hey, test first name. Excited to get working with you. And then here's the link right here. We linked this to Google. You would link this to your free beats, right? So then we'll save and return to journey in here. It's not going to let us actually turn this on without being a paying customer for a higher plan. So do note that if you're using the free version, there's really nothing you can do in the free version. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and build another one from scratch. Obviously, right, if you actually want to run these journeys, you can't be on the free plan, but just so you know that. So let's go ahead and build up one for the customers. So I'll name it customers, thank you, and then click on start building here. Then for our choose our starting point, what we're gonna do is you'll notice like there's nothing, like you don't do anything with like buys a specific product. You wanna do tag added. And remember the tag for this is sales. So if you don't already have this added, you need to go ahead and just type it in. And then like I said, since I have it, I don't see the create a new tag. But if you type in sales, you will see it says create a new tag called sales. So type in sales, then do create a new tag if you don't see it, and click on save starting point. And then click add a journey point, and we're gonna do email. And then same thing here, right? We're gonna rename this to essentially like customer, thank you. And then in the to and from, just make this like your testing name. So your friend name would be your producer name, your same email address. For the subject line, this is like, thank you, and then please open this. Cool. And then what we can do is we can go into our classic builder and then go into our save templates, and you will see we'll click on this plain text email. And what it does is we have kind of the bare bones again of what we had. So like, hey, first name, blah, 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 blah. There you go. And so essentially you would just type this out, say, hey, thanks for buying a beat from me, and stuff like that. And then cool, you can just save and return to journey once you have your email built out. Now, also what you can do is you can add a journey point of, let's say, a time delay of wait for, you know, maybe 4 days or something. And you can add another email in here, and essentially you can make this email say like, hey, how's the track going? Want to keep up? It's been a few days since you purchased a beat from me. Want to know if you recorded anything like a demo or whatnot, and stuff like that, right? So obviously we can't turn these on because we have a free trial or the free version, but that's how you'd want to do that. And then it's the same exact thing, right? Let's go back to build from scratch again, and now we're gonna do our free download one. So we're just gonna name this like free download. So we'll click on start building and then choose a starting point again. Tag is added, and our tag is going to be free download. So if you don't have that tag already, just go ahead and make it and create the tag, and then click on save starting point. And then it's the same exact thing that we've been doing. You add a journey point of sending an email, and then you just rename it. You change the to and from to match your name if it's not there. You add a subject line, and you go ahead and you just add your template in and just start building and building from there. So that's pretty much the basics of this stuff with setting up journeys. Like I said, this isn't the most advanced thing ever, but hey, it's better than nothing. Like if you want to go ahead and start doing stuff on your own, the course is a great way to get everything set up to the most advanced levels and working levels of stuff. But literally anything is better than nothing, so this will work. And so that's really the automation side of stuff. So now let's hop over to our campaigns. So these would be kind of your weekly emails that we send out of just like, hey, here's what I've been up to. What have you been up to? Here's a new link to check out some of my most recent beats on my beat store. So all you do is you click on create a campaign, and you'll see there's a few options. You see just do regular email, or you can just go over here to like email, plain text, and then we'll just type in weekly campaign 1 and click on begin. All right, so now it's gonna ask you if you wanna do the entire audience, if you wanna do a segment or a tag, or if you wanna do a group or a new segment. So essentially what we could do is, let's say that you want to send something to only your customers. So what you would do then is you would just click anybody with the tag of sales, because all your customers are tagged with sales. Or maybe you want to send something to only the people with a free download. Okay, so then you would do that. Or maybe you want to send people, you want to do only free people, so essentially people who don't match sales. So we'll actually get back into that. We'll show you that in the next step of like segmenting your list. But essentially, let's just say we want to send something to like only our customers. We would just do sales only. Or you could just send something to your entire audience. But you'll see here, it says like tips, segmented campaigns, see an average, almost 15% increase in click rate. Not every email you send has to be segmented, but I think it's good to at least practice it, to personalize your emails of like, hey, thanks for being a customer. Wanted to keep you updated with all of my new beats. We'll actually do this here. So let's go ahead and we're going to bounce out of this for a second. We're actually going to go back and build a segment. So we're just going to click the logo and go back, and we're going to go to segments on the left-hand side here. So within here, we're going to see there's segments and whatnot. So let's go ahead and click on create segments. So now let's just name this artist who haven't purchased before. Pretty simple. Like, you want to name these something that's very easy for you to understand. So add condition. Essentially, all your conditions with this stuff are going to be mostly based off tags. So what we can do is we want to do contact is not tagged sales. So essentially we're saying we want to make a list of people who have not purchased. So essentially all of our customers get tagged with sales. So I want to go ahead and make a list or a segment of people who do not have the tag sales, because obviously they are not our customers, right? If they're not tagged sales, it's because they haven't purchased. Now, here is the issue though. Remember, there is a Beatstars glitch of where if somebody free downloads or subscribes to your email list and then makes a purchase, they will not be updated with sales. So because of that glitch, this could go a little bit wrong. Like I said, that's the issue here, right? If we want to send an email to people saying, hey, I saw you haven't purchased a beat yet. I think this Easter sale is a great way for us to get started. And this is somebody who's like bought 10 of your beats, but they got glitched out because of this Beatstars glitch. They're going to be like, dude, what the fuck? I bought 10 beats from you before. I'm never going to buy a beat from you again. I hate you. Like, that's an extreme case, but that really can happen. Like, imagine if you spent a lot of money with some person and they sent you an email of like, hey, like, I see you never bought before. Now's the perfect time. You're probably going to be a little bit upset. But yeah, so essentially this is people who have not bought. So contact is not tagged sales. So then click on review segment. It's going to show you we should have 2 contacts who are not tagged as sales. You'll see it's right here. And then we'll go to save segments. And then what we can do is you can just name this like customers all time. And we'll do add condition, tags, anybody who is tagged sales. And click on review and click on save. So now essentially we have 2 segments. We have people who have never purchased and our customers. So people who have purchased, people who haven't purchased. So let's hop back to our campaigns and I'll show you how you would do this. So let's actually just go ahead and delete this one just to restart from scratch here. All right, so now let's go ahead and create a campaign. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a regular email. I know before I said do a plain text email, but that doesn't give you like, it gives like a really weird plain text that you can't customize. So actually do regular, not plain text. And for this campaign, we'll make this weekly campaign non-customers, and then click on begin. So remember, this email is obviously for our non-customers. So we're just gonna do the classic builder. That's fine. Okay, and then we'll go to our save templates. We have this plain text template right here. So let's go ahead and get into that. And then essentially this would say like, hey, first name, I saw you've never purchased a beat before. And so this is a very bad email. You wouldn't want to send this, but essentially it's like, hey, saw you never purchased beats before. Now's the perfect time to work together. Add 10 new beats, check them out here, right? I would never send this email. This is a very bad email, but like this is the gist of the email just for the tutorial. And then click on save and continue. and then just click on maybe later, doesn't matter there. And so now it's gonna bring us to this next screen. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on the edit recipients. So what we're gonna do is the first thing we're gonna do is do the personalize the to field right here and just do the first name. And then the segment or the tag, we see our segments here, artists who haven't purchased before, right? This is to our non-customers. So artists who haven't purchased before is who we wanna send to. Then we have our from, so we have our name and our email address. So we put like your producer name. Okay. Then you have your subject line in here as well as your preview text. So essentially like, let's collab. And then our preview text is like, now is the perfect time. And you can even add like an emoji in here as well. Cool. And then we'll click on save. And then what we would do is, what you can do is you scroll down and we'll click on the edit here. And I like to use the inbox to manage replies. This will help you. Essentially, if you go to your Mailchimp page and whenever you log in, you go to audience and go to inbox, this just stores all your replies to your emails so you can see them in here inside of Mailchimp. For any of this other stuff, like you want to track opens, track clicks, but the e-commerce link tracking doesn't matter because Beatstars doesn't directly connect, so you can't pull any of the e-commerce info in there, and don't worry about any of this other stuff. So just click on save. Then what we do is, once this is done loading, you can go ahead up here and you can schedule this, or maybe not, you have to upgrade your plan. So essentially you can choose like whatever time. And then of course, obviously you can just click send and then this will send to your people. So yeah. And then what you can do is, if you keep that in the draft, what we can do is we want to send one to our customers. So we can just click on replicate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change this to edit the name to weekly campaign customers. Click on save. And then click on the edit recipients. And we're going to change our tag to customers of all time. So now this email is sending to our customers. And then of course, let's go to edit design. And we're going to click in here. And then of course you want to change out maybe like 1 or 2 lines about your email to be more specific to somebody as a customer. So let's just change this. So like, so essentially this is the email I wouldn't send, but this is the gist of like, hey, like thanks for being a supporter of my beats and buying my beats, blah, blah, blah. And I actually think now is a perfect time for us to keep on working together. So essentially the first email is like, hey, like this is the perfect time for us to work together for the first time. And this email is like, hey, thanks for being a supporter and buying my beats. I think now is the perfect time for us to keep on working because you know you bought my beats before, added more beats, check them out here. So that's very, very simple. And then you click on continue, and then that's the same pop-up again. We'll just click on maybe later. And then what you do is it's going to save your settings from before of like the inbox to manage replies and whatnot. And then if you have the higher plan, you can choose to schedule this out, or you can just send it out just like that. And that's how you build out weekly campaigns just like that. So anyways, like I said, we don't really recommend using Mailchimp for a lot of our stuff just because we go a lot bit deeper in everything. I'll just kind of show you guys what I mean by that. So the reason why we like using Active Campaign and doing our whole setup how we have it in the course is just because we can essentially like, it'll pull in the name of the beat purchased, we can pull in the customer type, we can pull in the date of their last purchase, we can pull in what type of license they purchased as well. So essentially this is all just used to, remember how we did in the emails, we said like, hey, first name, we could pull in like the contact's first name. This is also used to essentially pull in other things like that, essentially. So let me kind of show you guys how that's done. So essentially, if somebody is a new customer or returning customers, we segment that. So essentially, if somebody hasn't bought before, there's like a welcome email of like, hey, this is for Matthew Mates, like, hey, I'm Matt. Here's a survey I'd wanted you to fill out to know more about you as an artist. And then also there's an email of like, hey, you know, I've seen you purchase before. And like I said, this is really cool because essentially what this does, remember, we have all these data points of like what license they purchased, the name of the beat they purchased, and their name, right? So essentially it's like, hey, I wanted to personally reach out and say thank you again. I saw you purchase the type of license for my beat named, you know, the beat name. And so essentially this just looks way more customizable, and although it may be automated, it looks way more personalized. So while it may be automated, it looks like Matt actually does give a shit, and it looks way more customized. It just helps the customer experience way more of like, this email doesn't seem like some just general email to send to anybody. It looks very personalized. And so essentially, you know, Beatstars, when somebody buys a beat, it only pulls in their first name and email. It doesn't pull in any of this stuff. So with how we have things set up with like our sales sheet, all that stuff comes over to ActiveCampaign. And so that way customers just have a way better experience like that. And then getting into the automations of stuff. So like this was our Christmas sale that we ran for Matt. You can see like this does look a lot more complex, but really it's just we're segmenting to see, you know, is somebody a customer or not a customer? If they are, we're sending different emails based on of that. So like, let me show you this just for example. So if we look at this Merry Christmas email, you will see at the bottom for the customers, it says, thanks for being a customer of my beats, and I hope we can work together in the future. So in this email, it says that thanks for being a fan of my music, and I hope we can work together in the future. So it just changes it just a little bit, but it's that extra line of personalization that really, really helps with just developing a stronger bond with your customers and your email subscribers. It's just more personalized to them. And now, like this is another example of the personalization of essentially it's looking to see, this is for the Black Friday sequence. These emails had gotten deleted by accident. Whoops. So essentially it looks to see, is somebody a customer or not? If they are, they go here. If they're not a customer, they go here. So you can see if we look in this email, it'll say to give you loan site, you can get your first beat license for $15. So essentially, it's just stuff like this of like really making it personalized of you can get your first beat license. So it's just speaking directly to somebody who hasn't purchased. And also, right, if somebody hasn't purchased, it may be because pricing is an objection they have. It may be too expensive. So it's like you get your first beat license for $15, right? So like this really speaks to somebody who's on the edge, but pricing's always been an issue. It's like you can get your first one for only $15. It's super cheap. While you know, this email, I don't remember what it said, but essentially it would just say something of where if you look at this, like this is your first beat license, like you get your next beat for only this much, or like you usually pay X amount for a basic license, but you could get your next basic license for only this much. So it just changes when you talk to customers versus non-customers. And let's see if there's any customization here. Yeah, so essentially over on this email, it says, I was hoping this could be the beginning of a long-term business relationship if you want to use any of my beats. So essentially, like I said, this is going to somebody who hasn't purchased before. So it's like we're talking to somebody like, hey, like this could be the beginning of us working together. So like that's kind of what that does. And I'm pretty sure in the other email, it says like essentially like I know that we've been working together. Maybe right now is not the time. So it just kind of like one or two lines of the email changes, not the whole email, but it's just that extra space of personalization that can really, really help. Just write a really good email to somebody that they're not going to be like upset you're running a sale at them because it seems like personalized to them. So yeah.